over here. Yeah. Oh, can someone hit got it on that? Got it. This meeting is being live streamed. Yay. Okay. What's that? Sure, whatever. I mean, you know, this is an adventure in fun stuff. All right, hey guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So can I get a thumbs up from the people online to make sure they can hear me okay?
Yep.
Great, okay, fantastic. All right, and those of you in the room, all right, we're gonna get started with our Pledge of Allegiance. As you can see, we have some very brand new flags, both the American flag and the Palomar Club flag. And these, so the flags were donated by Charlie through donation, which I'll get with you later. The guide on bases were donated by all the King's flags down in Old Town, and I had to buy the poles, so and the toppers. But you know, we're very happy to finally have this set up here, because in this room we didn't have flags, and we had to imagine flags outside or put a flag up on the screen. So. Oh, and we have somebody else. Greg is showing the room from there too. All right, so thank you all for coming. We'll get started with the pledge. So I pledge allegiance to the flag.
To the flag
of the United States of
America,
to the republic,
to the republic,
which stands one nation, under God, indivisible,
under God,
with liberty
liberty
and
and justice for all.
Okay, thank you all for being here. Boy, good group here in the room and a good group here online. Happy to see smiling faces, not having to be covered with masks, and glad to get this meeting started. So with that, we'll start with some reports. Glenn, if we could start with you. If you want to come up here and use our multiple microphones to make sure everybody can hear, please. I would ask you first, yes. You did ask me first. Yes. All right. So this one is for the live stream, and yeah.
So we actually, since last month, we've had a number of people rejoin the club. I think a couple of them after 3 years absence, and we've had a number of brand new members join the club. I didn't think to bring anything to list off their call signs. I think the last report I had on membership said we had 161 members again. So that's a big change from 127 or 128 we had not too many months ago. That's all I have.
Okay. Mark, you gonna come up and say anything in a few minutes? Or?
Charlie is going to take care of business.
Okay, Charlie.
We have some citizens.
Okay, so Charlie's going to come up and talk about some business stuff. So welcome, Charlie.
I'll let Mark talk about equipment status, although I think it's all pretty much operating with some adjustments in the 6-meter repeater continuing. The important part is the site had significant damage over the winter. Fortunately, it did not affect the club's antennas. Other than one of the microwave antennas that's part of our, anyway, one of the antennas parabolics fell off the tower, and one of the antennas for one of the hosted clubs, the Mexican guys, is now completely inverted. It's a vertical. So we've told them that the easiest way to get over that problem, when they want to use their repeater, to use their handy talkies upside down. This Saturday, we have a tremendous amount of fallen branches, some pretty big ones. This Saturday, we have a work party. Right now, we'd like some more people, but we have 5 guys, me being one of them, which means I don't contribute anything labor-wise, to join us up on the mountain. And we're planning 11 to 4 p.m. So if you have a chance and you want to help, we'd be delighted to have you join us. And you can talk with me or Mark so that we can add you to the work party. Anything else? Mark?
That was it, Charlie. I was over here working on the spectrum analyzer. Did you announce the 23rd?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's the 23rd.
I can do it. I can do it since I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, there's something else.
Yeah, so the work party to go fix our technology and equipment is gonna be the 23rd. That's a Saturday. And we're gonna, what's the goal? To get antennas back up, get some stuff brush cleared, or what all are we doing, Mark?
Well, the Hispanic amateur bringing up 3 power fix antennas.
Okay,
However, the brush is now enough trees, limbs, everything is broken that it's hard to get in and out of the site.
okay,
So the majority of the effort is going to be associated with getting broken stuff up and off the mountain.
okay,
Charlie is in charge of safety because we typically sometimes we have tools come off the mountain.
Yep.
That
yeah. So the work party is the 23rd. Meet at Mother's Kitchen at 10:00, right? 10 a.m. If you don't know how to get to the site, we'll caravan over from there because we don't widely publicize the exact location. Yeah, Mother's Kitchen is easy to find.
There's an easier way to find the site.
Direction finding. Or that, yeah. Yeah, so talk in on the 730, meet at Mother's Kitchen at 10. I am planning to be there. I will not be there right at 10 because of my son's soccer game, but I will be there at some point, and we'll be clearing brush, getting stuff out of the way, getting radios back on the air. So hopefully we can see a bunch of people there. Love to get up to the site. I haven't been there in a while. So, all right. Let's see. Are there any other announcements of things coming up that I don't know about? Kevin, do you have anything for Scouts coming up?
not coming up, the radio head and air patch and UCSD.
Okay.
With the student IEEE chapter and UCSD, we've got after the past study for. We did electronics the same day, but in parallel, and we did programming 3 weeks prior to that. I'll go after the pictures for the next newsletter.
Fantastic. So for those of you online who can't hear Kevin, they did radio merit badges at UCSD and electronics and a whole bunch of fun stuff with the Scouts, and look for more in the next scope. Was there more?
Yeah, for those that live in the vicinity of UCSD, this is the precise date should be determined, but we're working with the students. And they're going to make boba pizza.
Boba pizza.
It's a cold flavor.
Okay. When? Friday, the,
I'll send you an email and you can forward it out.
okay. There'll be a
Will be
boba pizza. I gotta go just to figure out what that is.
do a YouTube search for boba
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you, Kevin. Any other announcements, questions, comments?
ABC
Oh,
and MK.
yeah, sure. Go ahead, Joe.
We have changed the VE sessions from the last Saturday of every month to the fourth Saturday of every month. That's changes about 4 of the VE sessions to a week earlier. And we also are now using exam tools and GradeCam, and we can always use more VEs. Anybody who's interested in learning the computer stuff. We also need Sandock VEs who have not learned ET, because we need proctors and we need runners and that sort of thing as well. So contact me, kb6nmk@amsat.org if you're interested.
Okay, great. Thanks, Joe. Good to hear that the VE sessions are going strong. All right, any other announcements, questions, comments? Yes, Greg. A new repeater? Oh, yes, we got a new spare. Yeah, it was one of those, it was too good to pass up. It was an opportunity that Mark found to get a repeater that really, really closely matches our current ones, because these things are hard to find. So, and it was a price that was decent from a reputable location. So yes, we have another hot spare. All right. And then, hey, John, did you want to talk about anything here, or was that for board meeting?
No, we can talk about it. Charlie and I have been talking about it.
Okay, do you want to come up here so that the people online can hear you? Okay. Welcome, John, AC7GK, to the stage.
Hi. Did not expect to be called on. Sorry. Hello, hello, hello. As some of you know, I've been trying to champion the use of a digital, plain old C4 FM. I find it is such a beautiful, rich sound, and is so simple to operate that anybody can do it, as opposed to DMR. And we've had a little bit of a problem getting too much interest in it, but what I have been proposing, because I'm going on the basis of what Dave Minster said, if you know who he is, the new CEO of ARRL. He says that his mission in taking over as head of ARRL is to take the group into the digital age. And we've got 4 repeaters up there that are all set with Fusion, System Fusion, and we don't use digital. We're not in the digital age in that sense. I tried going out there every day at 5 o'clock and trying to publicize it and being there available. And Charlie and I and Mark, and once in a while, 1 or 2 others would pop in, just to be able to have a place for people to land and talk and visit and chat on the radio, not just talk about the radio, but talk on the radio. And not a whole lot of response at it. But there's some problems. If you have your digital people trying to share a frequency with the analog people, it just doesn't work quite so well. The analog people don't like that constant hissing, and they can't tell when it's going to stop. And especially if somebody's trying to use the Wires X system, then it goes on and on and on. It would be so much nicer and make it easier in an emergency situation where you would not have groups fighting for the use of the repeater, to actually have one dedicated digital frequency up on Palomar. Now, Joe N6JO has a very nice one. I don't know if you've ever tried it, but it's at its house. And we were on there the other night doing the digital roundtable, which I always get in on. And one of the members, N8JOE, was coming up from San Diego, and every time he went into a holler, we lost him. Every time he came up, we could talk. It was just in and out because Joe's repeater is just too low. It's just, it is home. If we have one up on Palomar, then we would have the ability for the entire San Diego County to talk on System Fusion. Now, we were thinking of trying to use the 7.5 7.3, of course, is loaded. We don't touch that. And of course, we don't touch the 440. But the problem with the 7.5 is that there's another group that does have an option to take it in case of emergency use, and we need to respect that. And so I was proposing that we make the 130 a dedicated digital C4 FM repeater, and then people can have a place where they can pop in, hang out, and not feel that they're disturbing all the other digital, all the other analog stuff that's going on. So that's my proposal. And I have written several points, and Charlie is going to work with it. Go. When you speak, bells ring, Charlie. It's a wonderful thing.
The dedicated container will not explode nor go FM in the mode on C4FM, where it can automatically switch between digital and regular FM.
If I recall correctly, you could adjust it because one of the problems of having the two is the digital people keep losing it every time the station IDs itself. It IDs in analog, and then you're back out of the digital and you have to go back in it again.
But one problem we get into is why some people happen to be C4FM if they don't have their radio set.
Mhm.
Then they will take over the channel in digital. And analog won't hear anything.
Mhm.
You only see maximum power.
Mhm. Yeah,
Right, that's what we're trying to get out.
yeah, that's where we get around. Beautiful. Thank you.
I do need to make a point.
Please.
It's required by the FCC for the repeater ID every 10
Yes.
in open form.
Yep, we all know.
No matter whether you're running digital or analog,
Mhm.
the repeater will ID its source code, no matter what, every 10 minutes. No matter what mode you have.
Okay. Now, can that be adjusted so that it can be done in digital mode?
Not that I'm aware of, because the repeater controller is the one that does it, and it knows from it.
Okay, I had been under the impression that you could. And then you wouldn't be kicking out of digital all the time.
Yeah, this is Chris K9EQ. I can address some of that.
All right, go ahead.
I'm actually a Fusion specialist. I've been involved in the start of implementing Fusion and been involved with many organizations, starting off analog and going to digital. And these are questions that, come up again and again. In the case of Fusion, when it's running digital, it IDs the transmitter once per second. So you as a user transmitting in Fusion, your ID, assuming you have it set properly in the radio, is sent once per second, and the repeater sends its ID once per second. So there's no requirement for Fusion to have any sort of ID other than that which it's already doing in the protocol. DMR, however, is not that way. DMR doesn't have the bandwidth to send call signs, so use all these numbers. So a DMR repeater must use CWID. A Fusion repeater does not have to.
All right, thank you, Chris, for that clarification. And that was what I thought as well. But yeah, we'll.
Our repeaters are under control of the 7330s, and the 7330s run the ID every 10 minutes.
Okay.
Not the repeater.
Right. Well, but what he's saying is the repeater will ID itself as part of the C4FM protocol.
I understand.
So we're satisfying the legal requirements. All stuff we can get into later. Yeah, Phil.
Yeah, it's 147 that went through. 135. One wideband, plastic, light engaging digitally, like one. So we can make it.
Okay, we'll keep that in mind. Thank you. All right. Anything else? Okay. Your board introductions. Your repeater site chair, who you heard from a little bit ago, was Charlie, NN3V. Your repeater tech chair is Mark, KF6 WTN, sorry, who you online didn't hear from, but you heard us relay his chatter. Your scope editor, Keith, KM6CXW, is not here, but he will welcome any articles or content for the scope. Director Chris, KD9LF, Director Ron, AJ6FQ, Membership Chair Glenn, AI6RR, who you heard from earlier, Treasurer Jim, K2VO, Secretary Jim, W6TQS, Vice President Michelle, who will be up here momentarily, and I'm your President, Joe, K6JP. Sorry, Michelle, W5NYV. All right, so Michelle, do you want to, floor is yours. Okay. We don't need to have that.
All right.
And I'm gonna edit that. It's like one of ours.
Oh, it's a good idea. Yeah, so if you can share maybe share the PDF so that people can see it on Zoom, and I'll wait for that to happen.
So sharing.
Yeah, it's a short set of slides, and then we're going to get right to using computers. Who brought a laptop? 1, 2, 3. All right, very good. So I have files for you, the files that are mentioned here that will feed into FLDigi. So we will not be connecting a radio to our computers tonight. We will pretend that these files, these WAV files, are what you get over the air. So setting up a radio in order to receive these sorts of signals is an exercise left to the operator. All right, so what we're going to talk about is using FLDigi to receive shortwave radiogram. If you remember, we had a presentation about shortwave radiogram a couple of months ago, straight from the source. Next. And by the way, these slides are available on the Facebook group, and we're also going to send them out as an attachment, so you'll have a copy. So what is FLDigi? It stands for Fast Light Digital Modem Application. And it's pretty cool. It's a cross-platform modem program, meaning that it works on a lot of different OSs. In fact, we have an example on the table behind you running on a Raspberry Pi. It supports most of the peer-to-peer, or what you would do with a live keyboard contact back and forth between you and other operators on the bands. The place where you can get this software is linked right here. It's a SourceForge site. And you can also get a lot of other documentation at this site. There's a list of everything that you can get. It's very well documented and explained. So what is shortwave radiogram? That's what we're going to use FLDigi tonight to decode. And it's a really cool amateur and for anyone really, accessible themed digital transmission from WRMI, that's a shortwave broadcast station. It has text and images. Now, this programming was originally from Voice of America, which we also heard about a couple of months ago. So you can learn more from the source. The link there is a YouTube video of our presentation about VOA and shortwave radiogram. So we're going to set up computers and try to receive some pre-recorded shortwave radiograms. We're going to use files from a USB drive. I brought some, instead of connecting up to a radio. And after this, after you get a little bit of practice with it, then you should be able to sort of graduate to being able to receive these and other similar programs over the air. So what do you need? A computer, and you'll need to have the FLDigi software installed. And you're going to need some files. Now you can give me $10 and you can keep the USB drive that I brought tonight. I brought a collection of WAV files from shortwave radiogram. So what are the benefits of doing this? Well, this is an easy way to practice of a wide variety of digital modes. And digital communications, as we just heard, are at the heart of amateur radio. The future is actually here. There's a huge variety of digital communications projects, products, protocols, all sorts of amazing things going on. So by using shortwave radiogram to practice, you can get confident and competent at doing this. Also, shortwave radiogram, since it is HF, you see week after week a tremendous difference, a huge variety in the type of propagation and the different effects that you'll hear. There are going to be some weekends where you won't hear radiogram at all. And then others where it's so loud, it feels like it's going right into your brainstem. So doing something like this regularly on HF, you really get a good feel for propagation. So what I have next is a video that shows you how to set up FL-Digi. So if you have FL-Digi installed, then this is going to take you to the next level where it's going to walk you through exactly how to configure FL-Digi. There's a lot of different choices. So that's the next part. That's the last part before we break. And you visit Mark, visit us over here, get your USB drive and get your computer up and running. Food in the back as well. So what I'll do is I'll close here and let this video play. And then if you have any questions or you'd like to take your computer and give it a shot tonight, then that's what we'll be doing. Thank you.
I'll go around with my phone so they can see it all. So
Okay. Wonderful. Yeah, don't leave after the video. We'll be roaming around. Joseph's going to go mobile and he's going to interview people and you'll get to see what we're doing here tonight. And as always, if you have any questions, please follow up with me anytime, w5nyv@arrl.net.
Hi and welcome back to another Tech Minds video. So something which I have wanted to try for a while was receiving and decoding the shortwave radiogram transmissions coming from the US. Now last weekend we saw 3 days of radiogram transmissions spanning from the 21st to the 23rd of January 2022. Each transmission is around 30 minutes long and it contains text and images. Now, the content is put together by Dr. Kim Andrew Elliott and it's transmitted using MFSK32 and MFSK64 digital formats. Now, the program normally starts in MFSK32 and then after around 10 minutes, depending on the schedule, it switches to MFSK. Hi and welcome back to another Tech Minds video. So something which I have wanted to try for a while was receiving and decoding the shortwave radiogram transmissions coming from the US. Now last weekend we saw 3 days of radiogram transmissions spanning from the 21st to the 23rd of January 2022. Each transmission is around 30 minutes long and it contains text and images. Now, the content is put together by Dr. Kim Andrew Elliott and it's transmitted using MFSK32 and MFSK64 digital formats. Now, the program normally starts in MFSK32 and then after around 10 minutes, depending on the schedule, it switches to MFSK64. You can view the schedule on the swradiogram.net website for further information of when they're next going to broadcast. Now, as shown on the schedule here, the frequency and start time is shown. Last weekend, we saw a mixture of WIMB in Pennsylvania and WRMI in Florida performing these transmissions. Now, normally these radio stations broadcast audio, so these radiogram programs are kind of a specialist thing for those listening. Now, if you've ever decoded SSTV using your SDR receiver, then this is pretty much the same process, except this is a 30-minute long transmission. The transmission that you can see here in the background, this was transmitted at 23:30 UTC on Sunday, the 23rd of January, 2022. Now, I'm in the UK, so quite some distance from the transmitter. However, I did manage to decode most of the transmission with only a few signal dropouts here and there. So the radio used was an SDR Play RSP-DX. The SDR software is SDR Uno. The decoding software is FL Digi, and the antenna used was an end-fed half-wave installed at my home QTH. Now, if you're interested, there is a video on my channel on the end-fed half-wave antenna if you'd like to go and see how it's designed and installed. Well, the SW Radiogram Wiki provides details of compatible software packages for Windows and even Android devices. But what I'll show you in this video is how I configured FL Digi to decode the SW radiogram transmissions. Now, if you're using an SDR package to receive the transmission, then you'll need an application driver called Virtual Audio Cable installed. Now, if you've used SDR software before on decoded signals, then you might have it already installed. But what this allows you to do is you can configure the SDR application audio output and pipe it to another application. Luckily, VB audio cable is free. I'll leave a link down below. So once VB audio cable is installed, you need to change your SDR application's output to VB audio cable. Then, within FL Digi, you need to change the captured device as shown here. Now, we don't need to worry about the playback setting because we're not transmitting anything. We just want the audio from the SDR application to pipe into FL Digi. Now, to make decoding as successful as possible, the Radiogram Wiki page has some further settings you should adjust. So as shown here on the RSID page, make sure it looks like this. Another page for adjusting the settings would be the sweet spot page. Just make sure yours look like this. And lastly, on the notifications page, you can configure it to look like this. However, I'm pretty sure this notification function should automatically change FL Digi mode. For example, when they change from MFSK32 to MFSK64. But for some reason, mine was not working, so I'll have to investigate that. But luckily though, just before they switch to MFSK64, they issue a line of text stating that they're about to do so, so you can go ahead and manually change it. So as we can see here, the scheduled program is mostly text. However, the later half of the show actually contains images, and there's quite a few. FL Digi will automatically decode these images and show them on screen. It will also save these images to your hard drive for viewing later. Now, in case you're wondering, this is what a radiogram transmission sounds like. Well, that's MFSK64 sending an image. Now, it sounds slightly different when they're sending text, and it sounds a bit like this. Now, you would have noticed that when receiving the image signal, there was fading in and out. Now, this will also have an impact on the quality of the image you receive, as shown by the interference lines on the image. It will also have an impact on the quality of the text received. Some text might be garbled and just not readable. Now, this is completely normal and is normally down to atmospherics, the frequency, or even just the time of day. If you are in an area where you receive a nice strong radiogram signal, then it's less likely you'll receive dropouts in the images or text. Now, if you do experience decoding issues, then just make sure the red bar, as shown here, is covering the bandwidth of the signal shown in the waterfall on FL Digi. Also, make sure that you have the correct modulation and bandwidth set on your SDR. This is how I've got mine set. Now, in this video, I've shown you how to receive and decode the shortwave radiogram transmissions using software-defined radio. Well, what about if you don't own an SDR, or maybe you only have a regular receiver? Well, the principle is the same. You would just connect the audio output from your receiver to the audio input on your computer using a physical cable, and then configure FL Digi to take its audio source from the computer's sound card input. So what about if you don't own any receivers? Well, you can still do this by using an online web SDR. Using an online web SDR is a good way to experience the world of software-defined radio without needing to purchase any hardware. The web SDR would simply be used in your computer's web browser. And there's thousands of web SDRs available around the world. So I'm sure you'll be able to find one which receives the shortwave radiogram really well. Well, there we go, guys. A brief overview of shortwave radiogram and how to decode it using FL Digi on Windows. Let me know in the comments below if you've decoded this signal before and what equipment you use to receive and decode it. Also, if you're new here and like this kind of content, please consider subscribing so you don't miss out on future videos. Until the next one, take care, stay safe, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
All right, great. Thanks for that. And we will now go to the hands-on portion. I'll be on from my phone. I'll get the camera going on that so you guys can see some of the stuff that we're messing with here in the room. And let me know if you have any questions during that phase of it. Otherwise, we will see you next month or at the work party on the 23rd. Also check the chat. There was Dave was looking for someone to do a QSO on HF. So have a look in the chat, see if you can get in contact with Dave and give him a test of his new HF rig. So for now, yes, Mark.
By any chance, want to mention what the setup back here?
I'll be walking around and we can talk about what's going on when everything's set up. So yeah, I'll bring my phone to you and you can talk.
Really, all I want to do is let everyone here know that it's an FT. I'm looking at radiated energy, and also I can run SWR. My antenna, pulling that off, sweep it across the band.
So we're testing SWRs of antennas and what about HTs? Sweeping radiation. Okay.
Energy is actually coming out of the radio.
Yeah, so Mark's playing with RF and Michelle's playing with radiograms. You have more to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
For next month.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought maybe since I have everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, so next month, our next month's meeting is about a digital radio protocol called M17 and another digital radio protocol called DBBS2. And we're going to walk through the forward error correction in a way that you will understand. So it is a talk that is cross-listed with IEEE. So please look for some food and some new faces and a technical talk next month. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, everybody. And 7-3 for now. I will be around with my phone shortly. Okay, so just clearing everything up. Oh, I'm gonna turn off that. Yeah. I was getting a massive echo. Getting everything turned off on the stage, like the presentation projector and such. So we're gonna go over here and
Hey, Jeff. Yeah. Sorry.
well, do you want to talk about what's here?
Oh, no, but Paul brought
Paul.
this is FL Digi running on a Raspberry Pi Zero.
This little board right here is the whole computer. It's a Raspberry Pi 2, 02W, 0W2, something like that. It's the latest and greatest from Raspberry Pi. Or not the greatest. It's actually one of the smaller, lower power machines. Here it is running on a tiny little HDMI monitor.
For
This is-
size context, there's my Jeep key. My goodness.
Yeah. Over here, we have a somewhat larger computer. This is I'm currently copying the files that were provided. I think I'm done with that. Let me show you something interesting. This is a high-res screen. And Linux, which I'm running here, it's not always super smart about high-res screens. So that tiny little thing is the configuration window for FL Veggies. It's a little bit on the microscopic side.
Yeah. Oh boy.
I don't know whether it gets better after I get through the configuration wizard or not. I hope it does, but I don't hold out a lot of hope. So these are both fresh installs of FL Digi, and I haven't ever tried them on either one of these machines. So I'll be playing along with the game here and
then these
trying to
files.
decode the short radiogram files.
All right. Cool. Thanks.
Archives of MP3s.
I have no idea what printer is doing here. This thing has been scary slow. But the fact that I got it to run under Windows 10 anyway, it's. But anyway, I can save these traces as PDFs and email them to you. So we just need to know which radio this is. D5. This is FT5. FT5.
And this is the antenna that you're using to.
Yeah. And preamps turned off. I had enough output that it didn't make any difference. Okay. Apparently it's not going to work. Oh, it was doing save as underneath the Windows feature where it puts the option screen underneath the main program.
Wait a minute. The polarization antenna is horizontal, isn't it?
Yeah, actually it is. That's probably not good.
No, by turning HD sideways.
Yeah.
Can that thing turn when it's mounted?
No, this one doesn't.
No. You can turn the HD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
Or you can, or you can use that. Does it have a 1/4-20 on the bottom?
Yeah, it does.
So you had a tripod. Does the tripod have a 90-degree head? There you go.
Not quite.
No.
It's got a metal framework, but I picked the only plastic table here.
You had a bigger tripod earlier. Where'd that go?
It's out there. It's the measurement tripod.
Oh, okay.
So you want to go do it again and hold the antenna horizontal.
When we use these, we turn on linear amplifier.
Yeah. Okay, flip it on. Oh, he's not quite in the path. A little better.
We're good. Thank you.
Okay. Instrument. It's got to wait for it to respond. There we go.
Okay, put this somewhere from his. Community directory for John. We'll call it meeting test out. All right, John, John, are you here?
He's over there. John.
Just let me, give me your call sign and which radio. Charlie 7. And it was the FT5. On case of FT5.
Someone using the 447.
I'm not talking about. Yeah, let me just get this one printed. Let me get this one set up to print and make sure that everything works the way it should be. Technical chair.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting here. Thank you, everybody, again for joining us. And next month we'll be in person again, hopefully with this Zoom as well for those of you who aren't here. But really encourage people to be here because we're doing a lot of more hands-on in our meetings. So thank you all. Have a great night and a great month.